Welcome to Kentucky Roll Call.
Here's a swing and a drive to deep left. Back goes Nixon. Looking up. Daly wins it. Daly wins it. Daly wins it.
With Walker and Peak.
Woodson from the gun. Play fake. Step it up. He's throwing deep down the near sideline. He's got Johnson. 20. Down. 5. Touchdown. Kentucky.
When Mitch called me and talked to me about being the head coach here at Kentucky, I understand the assignment. We are here to win banners.
Back outside. This is the point where he always hits it. Oh! Aaron Harrison beyond belief.
Welcome into Kentucky Roll Call for Friday, May 29th. We are live in Louisville. I'm Stephen Peak, Roman Kelly next door. And it could be a big show for us today. Kentucky. We are on Milan Momcilovic watch day 2. And also the Bad Cats are taking on Wake Forest as we speak. So you can follow along with the game. You can have the game on TV and your radio or your YouTube on your laptop or bigxsportsradio.com so you can listen to us while you watch the Kentucky baseball game. Because Roman Kelly, these college baseball games last about 4.5 hours anyway. So you can listen to us for the full 2 hours and still have a couple hours of Kentucky baseball left to watch.
Yeah, you can just mute the game, cut us on.
Exactly. I mean, I covered, when I covered the NCAA tournament a couple years ago, and when we went to Omaha, I loved it. I thought it was great. And at the same time, I was like, there needs to be less of it. There needs to be less baseball. I love college baseball, and there needs to be less of it so I could love it more, if that makes sense. The games are way too long. This could be, I'm sorry, I'm starting off the show with a rant. I'm excited. I mean, you never know. Kentucky can get out of this region. I don't know how far they can get with the pitching they have, but they can get out of this region. We'll see. But I would love this to be like a May Madness for college baseball. But you really can't do that with these 9-inning, 4.5-hour-long marathon games. I wish that college baseball was like 6 or 7 innings. And then you could watch this tournament today and have wall-to-wall baseball coverage from noon to midnight and beyond. And I would be, you could have like a red zone for the college baseball tournament. I would watch that. But I last year I got really into it because of Murray State. But even then, like, I remember those Duke games lasting deep into the night, starting at 6 and not ending until 10:30, going on 11. That's a good way to start off a sports show, Rowan, talking about how much you don't like sports.
Yeah.
No, I do. I love it, and I'm excited for the baseball tournament to start today. It's just the first thing I think about is like, oh, the game started? Okay, well, I'll check in about a couple hours and see how it's going. But we will have it up throughout the game. Roman, is there a way? I notice sometimes I come in here and people have live TV on. Is there a YouTube TV account that people log into here, or like
ESPN account?
It's ESPN. Okay. Is that always logged in, or do I have to do that? We'll find out. I'm gonna have it. I'm trying to get.
I don't spend a lot of time in there.
We'll see if we can. I'll at least have the live stats pulled up. But Kentucky in Morgantown, West Virginia. KSR's Adam Luckett is there covering it, so I'll give you some of his updates throughout the show as well. But what is on our minds, even as the Bad Cats are participating in the NCAA tournament, which is exciting, what's on our minds and what is normally on our minds here in the Bluegrass is basketball. And we wait Milan Momcilovic's decision. Roman, how come all of these big-time decisions have to be dragged out like this?
A lot of money at hand.
Yeah, I know. I know that's mostly it. Gosh, it just feels like every time we go after a big recruit like this, it can't just be like, all right, there you go, got him, let's go. We gotta go through this. I had a friend text me yesterday.
I think it's the agent's fault mostly. In most cases, they're trying to get the,
he has leverage.
$1,000, $2,000, $3,000 means something to them.
Yeah, well, Momcilovic has some leverage over Kentucky and really everybody. He's like the last really good player left. And I really don't know where Kentucky would go from here if they don't get him. They still have 2 roster spots open.
They're going to get him.
I think so too, but I know that
way they don't
it's a dangerous game to go on here and say I'm confident that they're going to get him, but I don't know why I'm confident. Everyone has been telling me
you guys are offering the most money, and that's what the kid wants.
And it's a good fit. Like if they were offering the most money and it was a bad fit, then maybe not. But I agree. They're offering the most, and it's a good fit. So I had a friend text me just now. This is killing me. I need to chill. There was I was just in the group chats yesterday, and people were saying, I can't believe we have to do this for 3 or 4 more days. I don't think I can do it. This is killing me. I got to get some news ASAP. This has consumed me today.
I heard it's a done deal already.
I heard that too, but I do you think I'm just going to believe that after all the other done deals that we thought we had? Christian Collins, Tyron Stokes. Is there anybody else? I'm sure. The guy last year, the shooting guard. Lamar Wilkerson. Yeah, that was kind of a done deal. Oh, here we go. We do have the ESPN. I can pull up all 3 games at once. I love that. But I don't really care what UIC and Georgia Tech are doing. I would have cared about that game because Murray State could have been playing in it if they had not lost. All right, Kentucky Wake Forest. Boom, there we go. Thank you to whoever is over here at the Big X who has their ESPN account. So now I can watch the game while we do this. I can't do full play-by-play. I believe that is against the rules. But I can tell you that it's the top of the first, and Kentucky has gone 2 up, 2 down.
Talking about live baseball on air is weird because it's like that was play-by-play right there with what you just did with baseball.
It kind of was. It's not like I'm saying, like, and here's the 0-0. Yeah. Swing and a miss, strike 1. I got it, even though that may or may not have been what exactly happened. I do love baseball on the radio. We were on our road trip. We were driving up and down the coast of California and put the Cubs games on just so I could hear them lose. And
outside of like insane highlight catches, there's no difference really. Like you're getting the same effect for the most part.
Yeah, you can kind of envision a lot of it in your head, and it's like something. Baseball radio kind of becomes like a 3-hour podcast. Because they're announcing the game, but they're also just talking in between pitches and outs.
Yeah,
and
there's no commercials. Like it's not as many.
Yeah, just in between the innings, and it does become a podcast in a way. As Castellanos, no, I'm just playing. Ground ball to first, and the inning is over. All right, no more play-by-play, Roman. Not breaking those rules anymore. But the Cats do go 3 up, 3 down in the first. Kentucky's got like one decent to really good ace in Jelkin, and after him, I don't know what they can do. So like they have to win this game. If they don't win today, they're not getting out of the region because I think then you got to win like 4 in a row, and this team has proven they can't really do that against any type of quality competition. But making the NCAA tournament for Kentucky baseball 3 years in a row is obviously that's a good thing. It's impressive. Last year, I forget how the season ended, but I just know in their region they had a really good shot. I think they had to beat the same team twice, and they were winning the first game by a lot and blew it in the bottom half of the 8th. But let's see if they can pull this out today, and then I guess they would play the winner of they would most likely play West Virginia. But not a good start, at least, for the Bad Cats. That game is already in the bottom of the first. They do get through those commercials pretty quick in college baseball now. I do appreciate that. Like I said, when I was in Omaha, Roman, they played Florida, I think it was their third game, because they had just gotten beat by Texas A&M, and Florida puts up like 9 runs in the second inning. And I'm looking at everybody else in the press box thinking, and saying to them, we got to stay here for the rest of this game. Like, the game is over. You know, like, Kentucky had already gone like 4 pitchers deep into their bullpen at that point. There's really no way that they were going to be able to come back and pull that one out. And I just was like, Daniel Hager was the guy covering it. I said, Daniel, I wish we can just get on the road, get back to Louisville as soon as possible. So you're kind of just hoping, come on, just wrap this game up, let's go. Because after they lost to A&M, really in the College World Series, once you're in the losers bracket, it's almost impossible to dig your way out if you lose too early. Kentucky did win the first game of that. Obviously, you hear it every time we start our show with the daily walk-off. But then they lost one bad inning against Texas A&M in the second game in Omaha, and that was kind of it for them. But let's see if they can go on a run here. And Jelkin on the mound today. I feel good about this game. We'll see what happens after that. Got to get the bats going, though, Roman.
Yep.
When does Louisville? They didn't make it, did they? No. Okay. So is Kentucky the only team from Kentucky that's in this field in the NCAA tournament? I believe so. Did Western make it? They didn't make it, did they?
No.
All right. Well, we will have Milan Momcilovic updates as they come in. There was a bunch of stuff on KS board last night that from random posters who they know a guy in Iowa, they know a guy who knows a guy, and said it's a done deal. They're just working out the details. Well, if that's the case, then Roman, I would expect to maybe hear something today, wouldn't you?
Probably.
Yeah, that's why I'm a little skeptical. Oh my gosh. I'm trying not to do play-by-play of this game, which is kind of hard as I'm sitting up here and watching it happen live. But without doing play-by-play, West Virginia has a leadoff double. Okay. So that's not a good start for Kentucky's ace. Get your text into the Gameday Men's Health text line, 502-414-1450. Take your comments about Kentucky baseball. What do you think they can do, if they can make any noise in this tournament? And then, of course, Milan Momcilovic. How you feel about this roster as is? How do you feel about the roster if they get Milan Momcilovic? I have said if Kentucky gets him, this goes from a team that is somewhere in the 4 to 7 seed range, assuming everyone stays healthy, to a team that can jump up to be in the 2 to 3 seed range. And then maybe even beyond that. I don't think this is going to be a top 5 team, Roman, even with Milan Momcilovic. But there's at least, with him, hope that you can become that. There really isn't if you don't get somebody like him, because Kentucky is lacking shooters. I mean, I like Cam Williams. He was a 41% three-point shooter at Tulane. I like the way that his game was developing in his sophomore year at Kentucky. But that's really the only guy that you have that is like a real, a plus 38% plus three-point shooter. Alex Wilkins is okay at shooting and creating his own shot, and I think his shooting percentage should go up a little bit when he doesn't have to create his own shots and take shots off the dribble. He can do a little more catch and shoot with Zoom Diallo running the point. But Milan Momcilovic, as I have said repeatedly, checks 2 boxes for Kentucky at the 3 spot, at the 4 spot, and the ability to shoot the 3. And, as I was reading today, those are Travis Ford numbers. Travis Ford shot like 52% from 3 back in 1993. But, Roman, the three-point line, and not to diminish Travis Ford's accomplishments, but the three-point line was much closer. It was the high school three-point line back then. Which is weird. I remember one of the first Kentucky basketball games I ever got to go to was, I think it was like 2004, 2005 season. and it was when Chuck Hayes was playing. That's mostly what I remember. And I had like really good seats. It was at Freedom Hall. They used to do a game at Freedom Hall every year. And I remember like how crowded the court looked because everybody played inside the arc and the 3-point line wasn't very far away. So like it would just felt so crowded in the lane, and I was like, how do any of these guys get open? Because once they moved the 3-point line back, it's kind of spread everything out just a little bit more, which is better for the game. A lot less like back to the basket, backing your man down, get the ball inside to Marquise Estel. Marquise Estel, if you've been following that story, he's now an assistant coach under Sean Smith, the co-host of Sources Say, as Wake Forest takes a 1-0 lead. On a base hit to left field, Kentucky trails early in the opening round of the Morgantown Regional of the NCAA tournament. Well, that's a bummer. Ugh. Roman, I hope that all of the negativity that surrounded Kentucky athletics this season is just setting up for a monster year next year.
Well, I think at minimum it's setting up for, like, if you just achieve better than last year, you'll have a lot of positivity.
Yeah, we're set. Not a really high bar to hurdle for next season. I know it sounds like I'm already giving up on the Batcats here in the bottom of the first. We still have 3 hours of baseball left.
Like, if there's some way, shape, or form for the path for the season where you guys, like, end up in the SEC championship game, I don't think there's a single Kentucky fan that's like, Pope out.
Oh, dude, it is unbelievable, some of the takes I'm seeing and hearing. If we get Milan Momcilovic, we might be stuck with Mark Pope because he might.
My mic was low there.
What's that?
My mic was super low there. Sorry about that.
Oh, no, you're good. Yeah. There are people saying, well, if Mark Pope gets Milan Momcilovic, well, then he might make a Final Four, and then we're stuck with him. Like, what are you talking about? If we're stuck with the guy who proved he can make a Final Four, yeah, I'm okay with that. I don't get when some people have made up their minds about somebody. There's really nothing you can do to convince them otherwise, right?
No, that's why I don't make my mind up about somebody.
Yeah, you got it.
I've seen them in every scenario.
I've said, and I've gone back and forth. I made a video about that. I started to work on it, and then I said, I'm not putting this video out while Kentucky is trying to. Oh my gosh, guys, dang! Just dropped a fly ball.
Ooh. Dropping fly balls in tournament play?
It was a tougher play. It was not a routine fly ball, but
like multiple.
It hit his glove. It hit his glove. You got to make the play. Yeah. So now Wake Forest has runners at the corners.
You get paid to make that play.
Sure do. You do now. Got runners at the corners with one out.
Funny about NIL.
Take his check. You got to make that catch.
Take his money.
Even if you got to dive there to get the glove lower, you got to make that catch. We're still not doing play-by-play. We're just telling you after the play happened what happened.
Catch wasn't.
Oh, we're already looking. We're already making a coaching a visit to the mound.
Good.
This is why these games take so long. There's so many relief pitchers in college baseball. They're not going to take their ace out in the bottom of the first. But
the fact they're still in the bottom of the first
is
not great, though.
We're through one. He's thrown a third of an inning so far. What was I saying earlier? Sorry, that took me off my train of thought.
Momcilovic, how do you feel about this roster?
Yeah. That I was saying that with Pope, I've gone back and forth, and I did a video on this, and I actually showed it to my boss Tyler, or showed her the intro for it, showed her the rest of the script, and said, like, what do you think about this? And she said, well, let's just hold off because Kentucky's trying to get players right now. We don't really need to be like, and it wasn't really bashing him. It was just showing my inner dialogue that goes into my head of he is a good coach, but he also loses games that he shouldn't. They come back in these. He came back down 17 and came back down 18 to LSU. and 18 to Gonzaga. But he's also the coach whose team gets down by 18 to Gonzaga and 18 to LSU and 17 to Tennessee and 15 to Tennessee. So which coach is he? Is he the coach that can get you to bounce back, or is he the coach that doesn't have his team ready to play and they get down by too much to where you have to sweat out wins? You need a miracle pass and catch and shot from Malachi Marino to beat a pretty bad LSU team. Which coach is he? And that's kind of the back and forth that I have, but I haven't made up my mind that he's gonna either have success or fail here. But I lean success if he gets the players. And if he gets Milan Momcilovic and he proves this can work. Ooh, double play ball, Roman. Cats are out of the inning. If he can get Momcilovic and put together a really good roster, then he can coach. I fully believe he can coach. And he can win a lot of games, and he can win championships here. But it is something I've gone back and forth on, and I think for some people, they made up their mind this year that it's not going to work. And I don't blame them. I was there too. There's a part of me that argues with another side of me. Mark Pope might work. And the other part saying, well, why hasn't it?
See, I'm in the in-between a little bit there.
Yeah, me too. That's what I'm saying.
I think that it's not going to work, but you can be above 500 and make a tournament, and it's still not working. Does that make sense?
You can't. Yeah, he's a good coach, but for Kentucky's expectations, they need a great coach.
His recruiting ability at this level, right?
He has done some stuff.
The expectations is there as well, so he's not meeting that. He's the gap of what he needs to be meeting there is even more drastic than what's ever happening on the floor.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I agree. And the other thing is, Roman, he's not 36-year-old Rick Pitino. Well, this is actually probably a bad analogy. I was going to say, he's not a young coach who's learning on the job.
And is super fiery.
He's 51, right? Isn't that how old he is? He's 51, or is he 50? Maybe he's 50. I think he just turned 50. No, he's 53? I do forget that his birthday is September 11th. Okay, so he's 53. He's not some young coach who's trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? He's a smart guy, and he's adjusted some things, and he's made adjustments, and I love seeing that, and I love that. I think a smart person isn't set in their ways. That they'll take in fresh data and make adjustments. It's something that I struggle with, and I try to do because that's really what smart people do. I've been told.
They adapt.
Yes, adapt or die, right?
Yep.
And Mark Pope has shown the ability to do that, and that's why I think he could work. There are some things that he's stubborn on, but I've seen him make.
He's gonna grab that butt
changes.
cheek when he goes in for that dap. He's just gonna do it. He's gonna do it, Steven. He's stubborn about it.
He has to. He has to do it.
He doesn't have a choice. He's gonna go with the lower back grab on the dap up, just a little bit too low.
Here's what my inner dialogue does, Roman. Okay, this is what's going on in my head. This was what was going on in my head almost hourly last year. Actually, you know what? Kentucky's coming back up to bat. Let's take a break here. I'll give you a second to get set up for that.
We're all good.
And whenever you're ready, start playing the music. But we'll take a break, and we'll come back, and I'll explain my defense of Mark Pope, why I think he will work out at Kentucky, why he will win a championship at Kentucky, maybe.
Whoa, hot one there.
Maybe. When we come back, our Kentucky Roll Call on Big X Sports Radio.
Kentucky obviously is in. on the Milan Momcilovic sweepstakes. If he thinks that Louisville is a better fit just because he likes Pat Kelsey and he likes the players and he likes whatever, then that's when we could potentially stun the world and stick an absolute stake into the heart of Kentucky fans and take the guy that they have put all their chips in on. I think it's like 80-20.
The Mike Rutherford Show, weekday afternoons at 2:30, followed by the Ticket Punchers at 5:30 on the Big X Sports Radio.
Since 1914, Creamer's Smoke Shop has been your one-stop smoke shop, family-owned and proudly serving Louisville. We offer the largest selection of cigars in the area, plus classic wooden pipes and premium loose and tinned pipe tobacco. Conveniently located right off 64 and 71 at 1839 Brownsboro Road, or call 502-584-3332 to check what's in stock. Creamer's Smoke Shop, your one-stop smoke shop since 1914.
Are you feeling self-conscious about hair loss? You can fix that issue today. Whether you're having thinning hair or total hair loss, Hair by Shannon will work with you to find the perfect solution. No surgery, no hassle, just a fresh, natural look you'll love. Hair by Shannon specializes in hair replacement systems that restore your natural look and confidence, with free consultations to help you find the perfect solution. Whether you need a full replacement, emergency service, or just a quick touch-up, Hair by Shannon has you covered with multiple systems and flexible payment options. Plus, as a full-service salon and barber, she offers everything you need to look and feel your best. Take the first step toward the new you and feel more confident. Call 502-572-4487 now, or visit Hair by Shannon on Facebook to schedule your free consultation today. Get the hair you've always wanted at Hair by Shannon, where confidence begins. 502-572-4487.
Calling all young golfers. The PGA Junior League at Old Capitol Golf Club is the perfect way to learn the game, make new friends, and compete in a fun, team-based environment. Open to boys and girls of all skill levels, our PGA Junior League is coached by PGA professionals, helping kids build confidence on and off the course. Join the team and experience golf like never before. Sign up today at Old Capitol Golf Club and let's tee it up. Visit oldcapitalgolf.com to register now.
Spice up your office parties and home get-togethers with Salsarita's Fresh Mexican Grill. Enjoy real fresh food, including their famous craveable queso and chips. Catering is available for delivery, setup, or pickup. Call now. Salsaritas.
Check the back seat.
All right, come here.
Check the back seat.
Gets in your head, right? Good. Because every year, dozens of children are forgotten in the backseat of a car by a parent or caregiver. All never thought it could happen to them. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Honey Baked Ham in New Albany is the perfect spot for a healthy alternative to fast food. They provide a variety of freshly made sandwiches, as well as salads and delicious soups. And you can dine in or take it to go. They also have many dinner options such as ham, turkey, frozen sides, and desserts, which provide a complete meal. Catering is also available for small groups or large gatherings. Call Honey Baked Ham today, 812-941-9426, or visit them, 3602 North Gate Court, Suite 23 in New Albany.
The plumbers, pipe fitters, welders, and HVAC technicians of Local 502's commitment to excellence can be seen in our community every day. The KFC Yum Center, Ford Motor Company, and the Omni Hotel are just a few examples of their professional craftsmanship. Local 502 has been part of our community for over a century and invests over $1 million annually training skilled local workers. Members of Local 502 are your friends, neighbors, and children's coaches. For more information, go to lu502.com. Local 502, built on excellence, building a better tomorrow.
When you're feeling all alone, you need some ears to pull.
Billy Strings Friday here on Big X Sports Radio, Kentucky Roll Call. I'm Stephen Peak. Roman Kelly next door. Sorry, Roman, I didn't go in and actually say hi to you today.
You were running a little bit late.
I was.
Does that mean you didn't eat lunch today?
That means it's going to be, yeah, you're right. That's another Salsaritas. You're welcome, Salsaritas, whenever I miss lunch. Yeah, today's going to be tough. I got a lot of stuff I got to do after the show today. My wife and I are actually headed to Wayland, Kentucky tomorrow. She went there she's a part of this this organization they do like for career building and everything, and they meet in different parts of the state. And they met in Pikeville a couple months ago, and they took a trip to Wayland, Kentucky. It's a really small town, and she met the mayor, Jerry Fultz, and he got real emotional talking about how much he loved this town, how much it hurt when they lost their school, and it's the home of King Kelly Coleman. I hope it's not Kelly King. Yeah, no, Kelly King Coleman. Sorry, he helped Wayland win the state championship. I forget what year it was, but Freddie Maggard, who I used to get to work alongside, he was the Kentucky quarterback from the mountains, and he made me. I didn't say he made me, but he highly suggested I read this book on King Kelly Coleman. Kelly King Coleman. But I don't know which. Some people, I don't know where they use. Some people put the king in the middle, and some at the front. But at any rate, he ended up being the 11th overall pick to the New York Knicks in the 1960 NBA draft. He's averaged 30 points a game as a senior in Kentucky Wesleyan. That's good advice, Roman. You wanted to say that on the. I don't care if you say.
I didn't want to. I would be a little bit embarrassed, but at the same time, I don't care. Like if it was the other way around, because I've been in that spot. I don't know why my brain hyperfixates on it though. Because I don't want to say something and then I'm doing something abnormal right now that the average listener isn't doing. I do. I say maybe we give we'll bring it up next Friday and see what's changed.
Okay, I like that. I went back and sometimes I go back and listen, and that is doing the uhs and the just leaving, knowing that it's okay for there to be a little silence. I feel like I have to talk the entire time. But Roman just gave me some really good advice on how to deal with that, because I get annoyed at myself because when you
don't notice it while you're doing it. It's when you go back and listen, you're like, oh my goodness. Why does that sound nothing like the Real Spiel podcast when I go back and listen to the Real Spiel podcast? When I go back and listen to my NBA show, it's like, what is going on when in the 1 to 2 seconds where I'm trying to confirm the words I'm about to say? Weird.
The other thing that I do is, because I listen to a lot of podcasts, and let's be real, there's some podcasts out there that are really good, really informative, but the people doing them aren't really the best at doing radio or podcasting. They just have the information. And so they'll do things, they do the long, there's this guy, Sam Harris, who's about mindfulness and everything, and my wife listens to him, and I put some of his stuff on. He talks really, really slow because he's tried to get rid of the because for some reason it does just signal you don't know what you're talking about. It's better to just pause. But I talk like that anyway. I say ums on the phone all the time. And the other thing I've picked up is the I for some reason, everybody does that.
Yeah.
My guy, Lance McGarvey. Do you know Lance McGarvey?
That's my boy.
Yeah. He said, you sound great, my friend. Stop worrying about that. He's such a nice guy.
He is.
I love Lance. I'm going to have him on at some point. This is a Kentucky show, and he is the Louisville PA announcer. But he has a really cool story.
He was the Louisville City PA announcer for some years, too.
Yeah. And I he reached out to me, and I heard his voice one time, and I was like, that's the guy. He'll be great. And it's so cool. Lance is the guy that if you're trying to grow soccer in America, Lance is the guy I point at and say, okay, that's somebody who, I think maybe his kids played soccer. He was kind of followed it a little bit. But he has a Louisville City tattoo now. And he cares about the sport.
And he knows everything to do with the details on the USA team now as well.
Yeah.
I mean, Lance is the kind of guy that is perfect for a team like Louisville City and furthering its brand.
That's the guy. That is the type of guy that you want talking about soccer in America.
But Lance makes the basketball games fun for me.
Yeah, he's good at it. He's good. I mean, he was.
There's so many little things that he does that I guess it's now that I've been in the industry and in the field a little bit more, that it's super easy for me. I'll be watching Lance and watching not even watching the basketball game. I'll be watching him watch the game and kind of figuring out like the timing of how he does stuff. And he has a couple of little small things that he does that, the way he'll pronounce things on the other team, the way he'll pronounce the other team's name, the way he'll pronounce fouls and stuff, that he's making it a lot more detail-oriented than
No, he's great.
You can actually just than you would normally pick up on if you're not watching him. But I think he's awesome.
It broke my heart that
we should get him on to talk some World Cup.
There was a part of me that was like, I'm super proud of Lance for he's the Louisville basketball PA guy. When I was a kid, I'm sure he was a nice guy. I hated the Louisville PA guy because when I'm hate watching Louisville and wanting them to lose, when I hear 3 games, I would just I hate that guy. I hate that guy because he was announcing something positive happening for Louisville. But it was intimidating. I'm not going to lie. I hated it. Whenever it was really just any team playing there because I was pulling against Louisville in every game, no matter who they were playing. But especially when it was Kentucky, and then when Sosa hit that 3 in 2008 or whatever it was, and the announcer the PA guy was doing it, I was like,
It was like my first positive emotional U of L basketball moment.
And Kentucky was down by 7 with a minute to go. Jody Meeks and Patrick Patterson almost single-handedly bring them back into the game. Or Patterson might have been out with foul trouble. Somebody had foul trouble. I can't remember who it was. We'll get to some text, and then I want to go through why Mark Pope will get it done at Kentucky, or maybe he won't. Somebody said, let's see, there's the long us again. Anyway, you all can leave the commercial in the YouTube stream. The dead silence is deadening, and there's many times when y'all come back and don't unmute, so there's sections we don't hear. It's
not many times. It's happened occasionally. It's happened once or twice.
Is there a way to do that?
I've been told we're not allowed, but I'll start.
Oh, okay. So I have an idea, Roman. We can just talk about this live on the air here on a Friday. I thought on Tuesdays, because we have the KSR guys on there, that maybe we'll work out a deal with my boss at KSR and on 3 that we can have this show on the KSR YouTube channel on Tuesdays. And that, I think, will extend our reach a little bit, and then it'll draw attention to, the Big X Sports Radio's YouTube channel. And I think you can do dual outputs.
You can't on Restream. Somebody's going to have to teach me how to do that on OBS.
Okay. Well,
if you have StreamYard.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. We would use StreamYard. And because that's what we use.
And we could do that every day.
And it does. Yeah, I'll talk to Dugan about it, and I'll see. And I don't want it to be like,
because it's just the visual that would be
right
simulcast.
And they would still get the ad reads that I read on those would still get out there. So when I say go visit Salsaritas, like I might be doing later today, if I get time to do it, this might be a no lunch day, but if it's not, I'll check out one of those 3 locations: Middletown, Bullitt County, and St. Matthews. Try some wildly addictive chips. It was good yesterday. It's always good. I get the same thing every time. I know I need to once I find something at a restaurant, though, Roman, that I know I like, because I don't go to the same restaurant every day, I just order the thing that I know I like, and why deviate from it? But I should maybe be a little bit more adventurous.
Get what you like.
Yeah. Okay, back to some text here. Let's see. We have UK Rob message in. He said, if you remember, UK has been monetizing the commitments. That way the money goes straight to the kid. Okay, so that's maybe one of the reasons that this is so delayed. There was also, I believe somebody texted in, and they had a reason why it might be delayed as well. They said the holdup is Louisville is making a late push with a meeting today, even though Louisville knows it won't match Kentucky's offer. But Milan and agent are going to listen anyway. That's the stall. Okay. I don't like that.
Yeah, because why even listen if you know that you're not going to get an offer?
Yeah, just
that's going to be.
Yeah, what are you listening for then?
Because the money could have gotten talked about over Zoom, over the phone.
Yeah, why are you visiting? Is that true? Is that 100% true?
I need to go confirm that.
I'm gonna look at it as well. It'll be on the board if it is, and this would be the first head-to-head going down to the wire. Pat Kelsey versus I have 30 notifications on KS Board. I got to get better about checking that every morning. I won't be able to do it right. I'll do that during the break. And I'll also try to see if we can get that confirmed, that that meeting is happening in person. I know that they're talking, but whether it's in person or not. Coach Ty messaged in. Coach Ty is going to be here in person in the studio, I believe, next Friday.
There's been talks that Arizona's willing to match the offer. You heard that?
I had not. Well, no, I had not heard they were willing to match the offer. I knew that they were making a pretty strong push for him. But so between Arizona, Louisville, Kentucky. Okay, Coach Ty here. Welcome back. I agree that he can coach sometimes, but he's so bipolar. If he gets this roster, do we really trust him with our whole heart to take us to a Final Four? There's times he looks like a genius, but there's also times that he looks like he couldn't coach in a junior pro game from substitution patterns to everything else. I'd be more confident if he could be a little bit more consistent instead of having the lows be the lowest of the lows and the highs being the highest of the highs. Totally agree with that. That is part of my ambivalence about this, because I watch him make second half adjustments and the team bounce back from massive deficits to win the game. I watch him make great play calls that allow Kentucky to pull off wins. We all remember the game versus Duke with Cooper Flagg. He's going to do a spin move here. Ortega crashed down. He does. He steals it, goes down, gets fouled. Kentucky wins the game. Drawing up plays late and like being able to get his guys looks in late game situations and those guys making those shots. I made a video, Roman, and this was the last year of Calipari. And what I did was look at the last, I think it was like 31 games where Kentucky needed a last-second shot or had a final possession where they could have tied the game or they could have won the game. And here it is right here. Kentucky has had 27 opportunities to tie or win the game since 2020. I published this in 2024. They've made a shot one time. That is kind of amazing.
Who was it?
It was, I think it was.
Let me guess. Since what year?
Since 20. It was 2020 to 2024, February of 2024. And I believe
it was Kobe Bryant last year.
Well, no,
or 2 years ago.
This was before Kobe. This was before Mark Pope. This was only the.
Oh, you said till 2024?
Yes, so February of 2024. So the last year of Cal, and I think it was Davion Mintz who made the shot. Now there was another one included. It was Reed Shepherd got fouled at A&M and hit both free throws to force overtime, but it wasn't the shot wasn't made. And some of these were good looks. Yes, the one they made was against Auburn in the COVID season. Davion Mintz hit a three to break the 77-77 tie with 30 seconds to play. So it is kind of amazing. I think I went through all. Yeah, they were. I even counted the Reed Shepherd one.
Shooting?
So 2 of 27. Yeah, but under Mark Pope, Kentucky has won a lot of those games.
But there's
in those
also
situations.
something to be said about Calipari. I hate to do this, blowing out a lot of those teams.
No,
Pope not.
No, you're right. I mean, well,
not blowing out. There were up 8 with 1 minute to go.
In the 2020 to 2024 era of Cal, there were blowout wins, but there were also just a lot of. There were games that were close that should never have been close. And it's so funny too, Roman, when you provide nuance to something like this, people will call you a Calipari hater, and other people will call you a Calipari lover.
When it's all just facts.
Let him go. Let him go. You
can't.
He's not the coach anymore. When are you going to stop talking about Cal? He's a part of Kentucky history and very recent history. If I was still talking about Billy G That would be kind of embarrassing.
Or if you were still talking about specific games where you felt Cal made a mistake or something.
Yeah,
like
this
that.
is the way bigger picture. I mean, even the St. Peter's, like, Kentucky should have won that game. It's 71-70. I'm going through the video now, and it's just depressing me. But 71-71, and they get just an awful shot from Ty Washington. We had 2 timeouts. Oh, well. All right, we don't have to worry about that. I'm not going to sit here and watch the rest of that and just feel terrible about it. So let's get into this.
You've got Mark Pope, though.
I may not get through all of it in the 10 minutes before our final break, but it goes into what Coach Ty was saying, and I hope when he comes on the show we can have this debate as well in person. But let's just go through what Mark Pope has done at Kentucky so far and why I think he can win here. There's also the part of me that is going to interrupt this to provide the arguments that I have myself against what I'm saying. And so the whole point of this is to provide nuance. Maybe that's not the most interesting thing. I think sometimes people just want you to pick a side and run with it. It's not really my style. And it might be better for radio if I just said, this is what I believe wholeheartedly.
Play both sides, Steven.
But you can't be wholeheartedly in either direction, because as we said earlier, you might get new data that would support the opposite of what you believe. And if that's the case, then you have to make adjustments in how you think. So now that we have seen 2 years at Kentucky, let's take a look at what Mark Pope has accomplished, the individual successes he's brought to his players, and then what needs to happen for us to believe this coaching staff and Mark Pope are capable of adding banners to Rupp's rafters. The Mark Pope era has had some bad moments, right, Roman? You can't deny that. They've had a blowout loss to Tennessee in the Sweet 16. They were ran off the floor in Madison Square Garden 2 years in a row. Run off the floor in Nashville 3 games in a row. This is prior to the SEC tournament.
Down really bad to your rival before coming back in that game.
Getting down 20 to Louisville. The only way that the fact that they lost that game makes it to where the comeback really doesn't mean as much to me, because
you were down 20.
I was in that building that was going insane and feeling the dread of, oh no, like, is Louisville really this much better than us? And then they battled back, and it ended up being a close game. And had Kentucky won, it would have been like the best win ever, because you gave enough hope to the Louisville fans and then crushed them. And maybe if Jalen Lowe makes the front end of the bonus there, or makes the free throws, and they cut it to 2, maybe things were different. But yes, that was part of it as well. It's one of the bad things. But all of those losses were to ranked teams. Now, the other part of me would say, well, Mark Pope has lost 9 times already to unranked teams. To which I might respond, well, okay, but Calipari's first 2 seasons, Kentucky lost 8, and they lost 7 to unranked teams in 2011 alone. To which the other side of me would say, you're not seriously comparing a Final Four team to Pope's second UK team. And I hope that the comment section in the Gameday Men's Health text line is roasting you for even saying that. And I would say no one is going to make the argument that Pope is doing as well as Cal did his first 2 seasons. But it is worth pointing out that from November 2019 through 2024, Kentucky beat 14 ranked teams. And Mark Pope has already won 13 in 2 years. And that is undoubtedly impressive, especially when considering his roster continuity in these 2 years has been terrible. His first season, I think they ranked amongst like the bottom 1% in roster continuity. So let's just start. We'll take a look at his first season. His first season, he took a team made up of transfers from SDSU, Drexel, and Fairleigh Dickinson, role players from high majors, and turned them into stars and reliable pieces. His biggest signing was Jackson Robinson, who missed 11 of the last 12 games with a wrist injury. He dealt with 9 injuries that year. He was relying on guys who were playing KHS AA ball just months before. Or he was dealing with a guy who hadn't played basketball in 2 years because he was on a mission trip. Those were the guys he was relying on to try to beat top 25 teams, top 10 teams, and he did. Beating Tennessee, and you look out on the floor, and it's a guy who hadn't played basketball in 2 years. You have Travis Perry, who, as I mentioned, was just playing high school basketball. And then you had Trent Noah, who he was going to go to South Carolina. Travis Perry was going to go to Ole Miss. And they were going to sit the bench at those two schools. And they're on the floor in crunch time against Tennessee. And Kentucky wins that game. A bad coach couldn't do that. He still beat 2 Final Four teams that year. The starting lineup that he had at Tennessee is hilarious. If that team that he brought out, that might as well have been like a Western Kentucky starting lineup. Maybe not Western.
I mean, but part of it was the Western Kentucky.
Yeah, I mean, there were like 4 mid-major guys in that starting lineup. And I'm not saying just because you played at a mid-major that you're no good. I mean, John Morant played at a mid-major. And he would have been a starter at every SEC
guys
team.
That aren't traditionally recruited to start and play crunch time minutes at Kentucky.
Yes. And they won that game. He made crucial adjustments to will his team to victory several times, including that Gonzaga game where he switched into a morphing zone, something that Kentucky fans just, I don't know how many times were Kentucky fans, and myself included, crying about Calipari never wanting to play zone as the team was torching them in their man-to-man defense. Well, Mark Pope goes into kind of a matchup zone, sort of, they call it a morphing zone. It's kind of like they're playing man, then they switch into zone. And it shut Gonzaga down. And then the other side of me would say, okay, well, where was that morphing zone when Ole Miss put up 94 on them? And after that game, Pope and his staff made adjustments after that Ole Miss game, and they became one of the best defensive teams to close out the year. They ended that year with the most top 15 wins in school history. And with Robinson...
In one season, right?
Yes. With Robinson and Kerr out and Lamont nursing his shoulder injury, Kentucky still managed to make the second weekend for the first time since 2019. And aside from the team's success, there was plenty of individual success to show why players benefit from playing in his system. Amari Williams, the transfer from Drexel, he had 10 double-doubles. He's the third Kentucky player ever to record a triple-double. In February of 2026...
Who are the others?
They all came kind of recent. I think there was... I'll look that up for you. I remember being in the car with Jack Pilgrim on the way back, and they mentioned... Matt Jones was going through it in the postgame show and went through the 2 guys who did it. One was with Patino, and I think somebody did it with Calipari. I got to look that up. I should have already done that. But Amari Williams in February of 2026, the transfer from Drexel, signed a 2-year, $2.7 million contract with the Boston Celtics. He's seen the floor with the Boston Celtics. Lamont Butler was on 3 mid-season watch lists before he got injured. The Oscar Robertson Player of the Year. He was second-team All-American. The Naismith Defensive Player of the Year. Then he got hurt. And and unfortunately, it hurt him from even.
Amari was the fourth.
He was the fourth, so there were three others before him?
Yep.
Okay, who are they? Do you have them?
I'll give you a hint. I'll give you two hints. Okay,
sure,
so
give me 2 hints.
the first was in 88.
Okay, that's not going to.
Chris Mills.
Chris Mills. Oh, right. Yeah, we should know Chris Mills.
Both Cal players, both lefties. You only get 2 guesses for both.
Both lefties.
2 guesses for the 2 guys.
Okay. I'm trying.
Both lefties, both Cal. Oh my goodness. I have a
Jared Vanderbilt?
No. Crazy hint. They did it in the same season.
Huh. Lefties. Man, I'm going to feel.
They did it 31 days apart. Both lefties. Now
I'm trying to. Of all the lefties, De'Aaron Fox.
There it is.
Okay. They did it.
Teammate, lefty.
Bam's right-handed, but
2 guard on that team.
Oh,
no, that would be Monk.
Yeah, Malik Monk would have been the 2 there. Were they on the same team?
Yes.
You might have to give it to me.
Briscoe.
He was right-handed.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm off. Who am I thinking of? Who's the other stocky guard out of UK that was lefty?
Xavier Wheeler?
No, it's like the same time frame.
Okay.
Well, I messed you up there. That doesn't count. You would have got that right.
I don't know if I would have. I don't know if I would have got Briscoe.
I don't know why Briscoe is such ingrained as a lefty in my head.
He just maybe because you never really saw him shoot. Didn't really do a whole lot of that. He'd get to the basket, yeah, for sure, yeah. But
no, there's somebody. It's not James Young either. There's somebody I'm thinking of. I got to figure this out.
Lamont Butler was named also the SEC Player of the Week for that performance against Louisville, where he was a perfect 10 for 10, scoring 33 points versus Louisville. And then the last one we'll get to before we take our hour break here. Kobe Brea ended his career ranking 4th in program history in 3-point field goal percentage, with a minimum of 150 attempts. He made 93 triples for the season, tied for the 7th most in program history, and he got drafted by the Phoenix Suns. Those individual success stories from year one should show you why Milan Momcilovic should want to go play for Mark Pope. All right, more to come in the second hour of Kentucky Roll Call on Big X Sports Radio. We'll be right back.
Well, I'm going to Florida, I'm going to Maine, no matter where I roam.
Plumbing problem? Don't wait on hold. Just ask. ASI's AI assistant gives you instant answers. Just ask.
Type it, tap it, no matter the task, just ask at asiplumbing.com.
Honey Baked Ham in New Albany is the perfect spot for a healthy alternative to fast food. They provide a variety of freshly made sandwiches, as well as salads and delicious soups. And you can dine in or take it to go. They also have many dinner options such as ham, turkey, frozen sides, and desserts, which provide a complete meal. Catering is also available for small groups or large gatherings. Call Honey Baked Ham today, 812-941-9426, or visit them, 3602 Northgate Court, Suite 23 in New Albany.
Hey there, New Albany. This is Mayor Jeff Gahan. It's another year here in our River City, and what better time to show your support for our high school's athletic programs. Whether it's basketball or football, track and field or soccer, swimming or tennis, our Bulldogs are giving it their all on the field and court. So let's rally behind them, New Albany. Come out to the games, cheer them on, and let's make some noise. Let's show everyone what it means to be a part of the best city in southern Indiana. Go Bulldogs!
Strong deodorizers or home fragrances can actually deter a buyer from saying yes to a purchase. It can be offensive from the moment they walk in the door. The best smell is actually no smell. Hi, I'm Angie Shaw Pryor of family-owned Rickshaw Realtors, and I can make your ideal home come to life in Jefferson, Oldham, and surrounding counties. Rickshaw Realtors has been serving the area for over 3 decades. You'll be carried away by our professional services. Call me, Angie Shaw Pryor, Rickshaw Realtors, 502-821-0101, 502-821-0101.
Make Louisville's longest-running pro sports team part of your summer. Come check out Louisville Bats Baseball at Louisville Slugger Field. Family-friendly entertainment at budget-friendly prices inside the best minor league ballpark in America. See the Cincinnati Reds of tomorrow up close and personal today. And the Bats promotional schedule has something for everyone. For a full look at the 2026 schedule and to plan your day at the ballpark, talk to a real person at 502-212-BATS or head to batsbaseball.com.
Are you dreaming of a fresh look,
Yanita Kitchen is your local Christian family-owned one-stop shop. From semi-custom cabinetry and countertops to professional installation, they do it all, even butcher block. With over 40 years of experience, they bring a personal touch to every home. Sit down with their team to create a 3D design of your kitchen or bathroom vanity so you can see your vision come to life. Yanita Kitchen can make your kitchen dreams come true. Located just off the Gene Snyder on National Turnpike, call 502-366-1182 for your consultation. That's 366-1182.
Looking for something different to do? Join Clarksville Parks and Recreation and Purdue Entomology for insects in a new light at Lapping Park on Friday, May 29th at 8 p.m. Experience the outdoors after dark as Purdue entomologists use special black lights to attract incredible nighttime insects. Start the evening with a short presentation, then head outside and see what flies in from the darkness. This family-friendly event is completely free. Bring a flashlight and your sense of adventure. Learn more on the Clarksville Parks and Recreation Facebook page.
Hey Louisville, tired of guessing what plumbing costs?
Just ask. ASI's AI assistant gives instant answers. Try it at asiplumbing.com.
Type it, tap it, no matter the task, just ask at asiplumbing.com.
Not a bad setup to close out this short holiday week with temperatures climbing into the lower 80s, about 84 here in Louisville. Now there is a small rain chance for tonight, and it does go up the more south you travel versus the more north you travel, so location matters, but a few downpours can't roll them out late tonight into at least the first part of your Saturday. The Waves from Tri-Team, I'm Brian Good.
This is Dugan Ryan. I would love the opportunity to talk with you about how we can help grow your business and have your business's brand associated with Big X Sports Radio. Give me a call today at 812-725-1457.
Welcome back to Kentucky Roll Call.
I think we ain't done yet. You personally, I think we ain't done yet.
With Walker and Peak.
Welcome back. Second hour of Kentucky Roll Call here on Big X Sports Radio. I'm Stephen Peak, Roman Kelly next door. Still no TJ Walker, but we'll hopefully have TJ back just a few more months, Roman. We'll see. And then, one of the things that could bring TJ back, we already have the Will Stein for year one. I mean, he's got pictures of him hanging out with Will Stein, or Will Stein hanging out at his house when we were all in high school. He's got to do that. But if Kentucky gets Milan Momcilovic, gets the best shooter in college basketball, there could be a reason to dream. I don't know how good Kentucky football will be. I know UK Rob knows how good Kentucky football will be. He's been saying 9-3. UK Rob texted into the Gameday Men's Health text line, which is 502-414-1450. He said, Pope's got this, guys. We will finally be able to judge him when this team stays healthy and injury-free, and it will blow y'all away. I love UK Rob's optimism. Coach Ty says in the Gameday Men's Health text line, he said, you said it best, facts are facts. When you bring up anything about Cal, it's either, oh, this guy loves Arkansas, but if you say anything bad, like his last few years at Kentucky, it's, oh, you hate Cal. It's like you're not allowed to criticize or state facts anymore. Yeah, it's one of the things I'd noticed, too, with having opinions that I put online about Calipari, whether good or bad. That, again, there's no room for nuance. I was going through some of the individual successes that have happened, especially in Mark Pope's first season. And, I left out Otega Owe, who obviously had a big year and had a big year this year. And one of the guys that I really enjoyed covering, probably my favorite player of the Mark Pope era, and really that maybe that comes with lowered expectations to some degree. But whenever his number was called, whenever he was asked to step up, he did. And it's Ansley Almanor. He went from being a role player at FDU to a starter for Kentucky, a top 25, top 15 Kentucky team. He hit 4 threes in that Tennessee game on the road. That's an unbelievable success story. And I know it might sound like I'm hating on Ansley Almanor when I say this, but if you can get that out of Ansley Almanor, then you should be able to get something really great out of great players, right? I mean, Almanor was fine, but he wasn't even he was supposed to have a very small role in his time at Kentucky, but because of injuries and like Andrew Carr's back problems that he had all year, Ansley was asked to step up. He hit 3 straight threes at Mississippi State. If he doesn't, Kentucky doesn't win that game. If he doesn't have the big game at Tennessee, Kentucky doesn't win that game. Ansley Almanor flipped 2 games from a loss to a win, and he was kind of like an average player. He was an average shooter. But with Mark Pope's offense, he was able to get really good looks. And again, when he was called upon, he came through. This baseball game, as I talked about how long college baseball games are, the first round, the opening games, especially these opening games where it's like the 2 seed and the 3 seed playing against each other, they're both throwing their aces. So this one is flying by. We're already
a lot of outs.
Headed to
had to get warmed up.
Already headed to the bottom of the 4th. Still 1-0. Batcats trail. It's been a pitcher's duel so far. Now, the other part of this, of my convincing myself that Mark Pope will work out. The players seem to love playing for him. Now, the locker room last year.
Once they get in there.
Yes. Yeah. Good point. Good point, Roman.
Aren't not always sure about it in recruitment, but once they're there.
Why do you think that is? Like, why isn't it that they're not showing these kids?
Because I think there's got to be some weird way. Because I mean, I feel like a common denominator in basketball, especially within like organizations, is making it a brotherhood, right? And clearly,
Duke knows how to do that.
Mark Pope knows how to do that with his guys once they're his guys. He doesn't know how to show a recruit the positives in becoming that before they are that. Clearly, he makes them uncomfortable in showing him what that's going to mean here for us. Once you are in, though, I mean, even in the, because there's been all these things like the types of recruits, not struggling with the white recruits, kind of struggling with the black recruits from these types of backgrounds and whatnot. Like,
yeah.
Once those guys have gotten in, outside of whatever happened in the beginning of the Louisville game, he hasn't had any issues with any type of player on his team once they are been on the roster. So clearly he's saying some weird stuff when he's describing the brotherhood to the recruits. And I'm saying brotherhood and it's making it sound like a Duke thing, but like whether it's family, whether it's just calling them his brothers.
Familia.
Yeah, whatever it is that he's going about trying to show culture verbally to a recruit, he's not explaining it well, but I wonder if the guys see it once they get there, though. I'm not going to act like that's not the case. I mean, you don't have record-breaking games and beat that many top 15 teams unless you're having fun playing basketball, because that's the easiest way to win is when everybody's having fun.
Yeah.
So
I would just show him the authenticity of. So if I were recruiting, I would show players and their parents and their agent quotes that we got at KSR in the locker room.
But you've got to think,
players.
Steven, I'm sorry to interrupt. You've got 2 completely different sets. Year one, think about, Lamont Bullard had some success, but all of these guys are trying to prove they still belong at this level of play and that they can be elite at this level of play. Kind of had a bunch of guys with some chips on their shoulders in some fashion, whether it's showing that they still belong or that they can play at this level. Everybody had something to prove. That's why the culture was so apparent in year one with Pat Kelsey, too. It's a bunch of guys trying to literally show that, hey, this is the right coach, and he just grabbed the right guys, and we're going to win. And we care so much about proving that that's above all else. The next set of guys for you guys was it's a bunch of, I'm at UK now. I'm at UK now. I'm big dog now, when he hadn't really maybe got them all on the same page about what that really meant yet. It's
that kind of did happen last year. It did happen.
I'm not saying he didn't have the locker room, but the average type of player that he brought in from the non-returning guys was just completely different than the first set of guys.
I do think that there is something to be said as I'm watching Wake Forest celebrate a 2-run home run. They've extended their lead to 3-0. I have thought that maybe he does really well at coaching guys
that want to be there.
Coaching average guys and making them better. Maybe he doesn't do so well with guys who expect to be great, coming out of the box. And maybe that hurt them a little bit last year. I think there were also guys on the team last year that didn't really know what to do with. That one went off the scoreboard out in left center.
And it was coming from, readjustment and the personnel, actually player types that he went and got. there is, I'm not going to go into the science behind these kinds of players typically or these kinds of personalities because it's just NIL. There's no way to know anymore.
Yeah.
I think, though, that there was an overcorrection in a few different position types.
Yeah.
And then.
Like, he didn't know what to do with Mo Diabate.
No, the Mo Diabate never going to be a Mark Pope kind of a player.
That is,
unless it's a small ball 5 and he's bought into this wanting to go and dominate centers or something like that. Right? And that's not going to happen in the SEC. So, right, that's a mid-major kind of a concept and something you would do, I think, with his X's and O's. So, I mean, it's just going to take some time for him to figure out what works for him on top of that. That's what's tough. Like, I hate to tell Kentucky fans to give Mark Pope some credit, but BYU is not Kentucky. The expectation of what you're supposed to be doing here.
Yeah.
You're going to shift how you go about doing things because you know that you've got to go do it better. He's figuring out what worked and what didn't.
And
just like Pat
with
Kelsey.
the money Kentucky has, and obviously BYU has no shortage of money now, but with the money Kentucky has, with the, like you said, the expectations, with the arena and the facilities and the history and all that stuff that you should be bringing in better players. And I think that he maybe in some ways got guys that he didn't know how to coach. You know what I mean? And so by the end of it, I thought he had done a decent job considering the injuries, and he did completely change his entire strategy. I mean, he went into the season wanting to shoot 30-plus threes again, and there were games when they barely shot 10. But maybe I should have pulled these quotes.
Texter says, saying Mark Pope is weird with no basis to back it up other than internet trolls is 10 times weirder than anything Mark Pope has done. Be better, Roman. First of all, I didn't say he was weird. I said he's clearly doing something odd when you have players who have been quoted calling him weird in this recruiting cycle. He was, quote, he was weirded out by Pope. Players already said that to his camp.
I wonder, too, when the internet...
For one, I didn't say that. I'm saying that there clearly seems to be something odd happening in whatever he's explaining in his recruiting process. And then, two, there have already been players to say that. So, Rob Wright, you ask who? Rob Wright. Go look up the Rob Wright.
He did say that. And here's the thing, too. Like, when that has become like a narrative on Twitter by Kentucky fans, then you almost wonder, does a recruit already have that in their head before they even meet him, that he could be a weird guy? Because we've had conversations with him. Jack Pilgrim did one-on-one with him. We've done interviews with him. He's pretty normal. Like, he's a basketball coach. He is a little bit more quirky and overly positive. I think the weirdness happens more so
non-basketball stuff.
Well, within the season. Like, there's clearly a reason why his teams can come out and be great, or they can come out of the locker room and flip a game around. But why are they coming out so bad in some of these games? What is going on? What's being said in the locker room? Why are guys not locked in? Why are we getting down 18 points to LSU? It's not as simple as just missing shots. That's part of it.
Yeah.
If you get hot in the second,
it's not as simple as that he's not saying lock in, fellas, before the game either.
But I think that, and here's the mega board thread with recruits calling Pope weird. Some of that just got out of control. And that is the marketing problem that Kentucky has had. He's the new Kentucky coach. Right now, I don't know that people and recruits and agents respect him as the Kentucky coach yet. He has an opportunity. I think they did after year one to an extent. They were willing to be like, well, his offense is fun. And I wish I had these quotes pulled. The players love playing for him. Lamont, the quotes that he gave, the quotes that Andrew Carr gave. Andrew Carr, after the Tennessee game in the Sweet 16, said, go to Kentucky. He's flashing the jersey at the podium, and he said, go to Kentucky. If I have any advice to give you, go to Kentucky. Lamont Butler said, I love this experience. It was so great. And that he's excited to see what happens, and that Kentucky's going to do great things with Mark Pope being the coach. Colin Chandler got emotional when talking about how Mark Pope helped him. Jackson's mom and his aunt, I would use those quotes right there. Jackson had a really difficult time at Texas A&M and Arkansas. And playing for somebody like Musselman at Arkansas, his way his mom described it was it just ruined basketball for him. And then he goes and plays for Mark Pope and rediscovers his joy and love for the game. That should be used on the recruiting trail. Those quotes specifically should be used. It's not coming from the university. It was an interview with a media outlet. That's the kind of marketing they need. Because the whole Mark Pope's weird thing got away from them, and then it's sort of, I just can't, you can't convince me that recruits that you're trying to get didn't go into meetings with him looking for his quirkiness. And if you look for something like that, you'll find it.
And it didn't happen as bad going into year 2, but it happened. So, you never know what effect that had on the recruits now hearing that Kentucky's interested in me coming into year 3 for Mark Pope.
And I remember.
I don't want to, it's kind of, my brain doesn't like to believe that. Like, there's no way Wilkerson and the one other whiff he had from last year are having that big of an impact on this year's recruiting. It's 2 years in a row it's happening a little bit. But
only in the fact that if you had those guys, you have a much better year 2, and then it should be easy to recruit in year 3. That's why I was a little disappointed with the roster, with the misses last year. And I was, especially Lamar Wilkerson, because that was clearly the piece they needed. But I was disappointed because I thought year 1, they proved that this could work. That the players said all these nice things, and the parents, and Lamont's dad loved Mark Pope. And then you get this year, and you got multiple parents openly saying they hated their experience for their kid or for their nephew. I mean, Jaden Quentin's dad didn't hide his frustration. And Jasper's uncle didn't hide his. That's sort of disappointing. And then, even the referees in year 1. We talked to Cody Feger, came on one of our shows on the YouTube channel at KSR, and he was saying, Cody Feger was saying that a referee in the middle of a game was like, oh my gosh, kids are going to love playing in this system. So guys should be lining up to play at Kentucky, right, Roman? So that's what makes it all just weird, and some of the misses that have followed doesn't make sense. And even this past season, when the injuries started to pile up again, along with the losses, the staff completely changed their offensive philosophy. And even with that, guys were having career-high and record-setting performances. Cam had 8 threes versus Bellarmine. Malachi climbed the draft boards. I mean, Malachi was supposed to be the 3rd best center on the team. And on draft boards more recently, he was listed higher than JQ. Denzel Aberdeen turned into arguably Kentucky's best player. Then one stretch, he had 24 assists and 2 turnovers in 5 games, playing a position he wasn't supposed to play. Otega Owe set a school record for most 20-point games. Colin Chandler was, at one point at least, was the best 3-point shooter in the SEC late in the season. I don't think he finished that way. But he was up to like 50% from 3, and we saw real strides in Colin's game. Now, the other part of me would have said, just going through those list of players, if that's Mark Pope's Ferrari, I would hate to see his Dodge Dart or whatever. I don't know. What's a very, like, it's kind of good car, but not, whatever that line of vehicle would be. Last season didn't go like we hoped it would for a number of reasons. But Pope managed to keep things on the tracks when it looked like it was heading for a complete derailment. With their full roster available for the second half versus St. John's, Kentucky flipped a 12-point deficit into a 15-point win. And then the other side of me would say, well, how did that roster look versus Alabama and Missouri? And I guess JQ's knee swelling, I don't know. I would say a good coach would not be able to lead his team back from 18 and 17-point deficits in back-to-back games. But also, a good coach doesn't get down by 18 to LSU. And a bad coach doesn't do some of the things that Mark Pope has been able to do. He is not Billy G. So the arguments that we should be comparing him to Billy Gillespie are unfounded and dumb. He lost to VMI. He lost to San Diego and Gardner-Webb. With a team, Roman, that on paper was probably was a better team than Mark Pope had at the end of last season.
Mm-hmm.
Now, regular season wins that don't lead to an SEC regular season title isn't the standard here, and it doesn't really mean that much. And Pope is going to have to win something of significance soon, or the new AD will have a difficult decision to make. You know, I said just like Duke's AD, his name was Tom Butters. Do you remember Tom Butters? I don't really remember him either. He's a footnote in history, but he made one of the most significant impacts on college basketball. After back-to-back losing seasons for a program that played in national championships, the Blue Devil fans were begging him to make a change. And he decided to keep the guy he hired for a fourth season, and Coach K became the winningest coach ever. Now, the other side of me would say Indiana kept Tom Crean 9 years, and he never did better than a Sweet 16. Or more recently, in 2023, when a coach was worried about his job security after an average to below average, I guess every season was average to below average, and had 0 tournament wins in 4 years. He was suffering a streak of 6 losses in 8 games in his 5th season. And it was because of that, Roman, that UConn fired Dan Hurley, and we never heard about him ever again. Or he's coached in 3 of the last 4 national championships. I would like to think that at some point, the injury luck will go Mark Pope's way, and he will solve the problems that have hurt him so far. And Mark Pope will show why he was chosen to lead this great program. Or maybe he won't. I don't know. Maybe he won't. I am going to stay optimistic and say that he will. And if he gets Momcilovic, all of the whining and complaining that I did and that everybody did about this roster build,
I feel like it's going to be announced at 2 o'clock.
That'd be great. Well, at least we'll have something to talk about Monday.
Yeah, it'll be. Tune into the Running with Roman show.
We'll have
you stick around. We'll have you stick around if that really did happen. If you were free, of course.
We'll get to some text here before we go to our final break. Somebody said 3 games is the only way I hear it in my mind. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's the why is it that I think of Reese Gaines whenever I think of the old PA announcer? What if UK had gotten Kevin Young and BYU kept Pope? I think everything would be different here. Maybe, but that was a special circumstance, right? I mean, like the owner of the Jazz basically made sure all that happened. I don't know if we had gotten Kevin Young. Maybe they would have. But what really would have happened, Roman, is that if they decided to skip past Mark Pope, they probably would have had Shaka Smart, is what I've been told. And I mean,
really,
Shaka's fine, but I don't know. I mean, maybe it would have worked. It's hard.
I feel like Shaka's like the complete opposite of Mark Pope. Would have been a brilliant recruiter with the resources Kentucky had. Would have been able to make every single recruit realize that this is where they need to be. And then you guys would have been down 2 with a minute to go to an average team, and he's out there clueless.
Yeah, I mean, I like Shaka, but I just don't know. I don't know if that would have worked either. Somebody said, this is a good text. I like this. It said, I'll read the first one first. If that makes sense. Oh, this is UK Rob. What you said about Ansley, that is what I'm talking about. All of that stuff gets forgotten. He clearly can coach up players and draw up plays. He's going to be amazing next year. There's tons of negative recruiting against Pope as well. In a world of pure hate and negativity, someone overly positive would definitely come across as weird.
Especially in this sport.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. Like, what is there to be positive about, Mark?
Pat Kelsey's overly intense and gets, like, now he comes off as crazy, you know? So, part of it in this.
Last text I want to read because I think they're giving you a shout out here. Roman said it the best. The first group was hungry. Even Mark Pope himself was so hungry to show that he belonged here. You even said it best, the Cooper flag play. He was in the lab studying. He knew exactly when Cooper was going to do it at the last second play. He knew after a few dribbles, flag's going to spin back, go grab the ball. Second year, There was alphas there that has been there that knows what to do when the head alpha, a.k.a. Mark Pope, starts doubting himself. And other alphas smell that fear, and how are you supposed to lead a few alphas to war when you are at doubt with yourself? It's a good point.
I mean, I feel like it's not doubt, like you said, because that goes back to like the 53-year-old thing. It's
I think Mark Pope doubted himself last year.
I think he
for one of the first.
confused on what he was doing wrong.
He
doubted himself.
I
knows he can win games. So
I think that he did. Well, I think it was the evidence that he doubted himself, or at least doubted his plan.
Unsure where he messed up with that group specifically.
Was when he completely adjusted his entire philosophy of the game.
But he also adjusted his press conference philosophy and his practice tone philosophy, it sounded like, too, at that same time.
Yeah, he was going through something last year. He was definitely...
You cannot change all of that stuff up. Players are going to look at you crazy. Like, I've got midlife crisis as a coach.
I wondered last year if Mark Pope, as things were sort of falling apart, I would think after that Missouri game, I don't remember when he said the whole, I'm going to roll, some days I like to roll up in a ball, that line.
Oh, yeah, that was tough.
But I think that he was going through some self-doubt. You know, you can tell yourself, and I mean, I can tell you this from a very different scale, doing this show and feeling like it just kind of happened that I'm doing this now. And I'm not nearly as good as TJ and Nick Roush. And that doubt would creeps in sometimes. And you think, should I even be, like, am I really supposed to be here? If they could have gotten somebody else, they would have. And that's, I'm sure.
If they knew the thoughts I was having in my head right now, would I be here?
Yeah. And I think Mark Pope probably had some of those doubts himself last season that could easily creep in when you think, I'm not a Hall of Fame coach. John Calipari was, and my guy Rick Pitino was, and am I really like in the same conversation as those guys? Like, should I be leading this program? The fans didn't really want me at first. They wanted Dan Hurley. They wanted Nate Oates.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I don't think I could keep my cool in that situation.
Yeah, because the doubt could creep in so easily when things start to fall apart. And I think
doubt turns into anger for me. It's tough.
I think Coach Ty had it right there, that some of the doubt crept in. And I can tell you, from sitting there and having a front row seat to watching Mark Pope fail at his dream job last season, especially after that Michigan State game, was a really tough watch. It was really hard. I remember when he paused for a second, I zoomed in to his face, and his voice was hoarse because he'd just been yelling, and he just seemed so melancholic. And somebody who for the whole first year knew what to say, didn't really know what to say. And in that video, in the background, you can see Malachi's eyes look over at him. And maybe I was reading too much into it, but I started to think, in that moment at least, maybe Mark Pope's not the only one doubting him in this locker room. And when your self-doubt does creep into your players' self-doubt, or their doubt in you, I guess, I mean, it gets kind of hard to get everyone to continue to buy in and to be on the same page and trust that this is the guy we need to follow in the lead of. And from the lower points of the season, what he was able to do, I think, was impressive. But he can't replicate that next year because he won't be the coach anymore. And a lot of people have said, including Jeff Goodman, last night on field of, I guess they're still field of 68, Roman. They haven't changed it yet.
Not yet.
Field of 76. People already bought the domains and they had the Twitter handle for field of 76, so I don't know what they're going to do about that. But he did say last night something that I think Kentucky fans kind of feel in their heart a little bit. If Milan Momcilovic doesn't end up at Kentucky, that could be the reason, ultimately, why Mark Pope won't be the coach in 2027, 2028. But I don't think that's going to happen. I remain confident that he's going to land him, and I remain confident in his ability to coach this team and do big things. But we got to be honest, and this is where the nuance is. This is year 3. How long are Kentucky fans going to be okay with not winning anything, even if things get a lot better this year? What if he doesn't win the SEC? What if they don't make a Final Four? What if he's been here for 5 years and they haven't made an Elite 8? That happened with Tom Crane's a good coach, right? I mean, he's not great, but he's a Final Four. He's coached in a Final Four before. He got Dwayne Wade to go play for him. Well, he went 9 years at Indiana and never made it past the Sweet 16. What if Mark Pope doesn't get a 1 seed in 5 years? And he just we got a 3, we got a 4, we're in Sweet 16s. What I'm saying is, we're at year 3. He needs to start winning something of significance, and it needs to happen very soon. But I think he'll be able to do it. Okay, well, let's read this text real fast before we take our final break. This notion that Mark Pope needs to have UK level of success to be brought back a 4th year also isn't true. Well, what is it? What would you say that the results need to be? I'll give you the break. If you guys want to get into the Gameday Men's Health text line, including this texter here, 502-414-1450, what do you need to see from Mark Pope here in year 3 to want him to be back in year 4? What is the minimum requirement? I would love to know what some of the listeners think about that. And we'll answer we'll read those when we come back. Final segment, Kentucky Roll Call, coming up on Big X Sports Radio. We'll be right back.
Sunrise with Scoots.
UCLA quarterback Carson Gordon plans to enter the transfer portal. But wait, the portal window is closed. But Gordon, who has also competed for UCLA track and field, is entering the track and field transfer portal. However, he plans to play football at his next stop. I mean, this is out of control.
Weekday mornings at 7, followed by Just the Cats at 8 on the Big X Sports Radio.
Swing into the action at Park Mammoth Golf Club, a breathtaking and challenging course just off I-65 in Park City, Kentucky. Stay in the know with the Park Mammoth Golf Club app. Get course updates, special offers, GPS, gift cards, and easy tee time bookings. After your round, unwind at the Mammoth Grill, where delicious food meets stunning course views in our brand new clubhouse. Visit parkmammothgolfclub.com and experience the best in golf today.
Since 1914, Creamer's Smoke Shop has been your one-stop smoke shop, family-owned and proudly serving Louisville. We offer the largest selection of cigars in the area, plus classic wooden pipes and premium loose and tinned pipe tobacco. Conveniently located right off 64 and 71 at 1839 Brownsboro Road, or call 502-584-3332 to check what's in stock. Creamer's Smoke Shop, your one-stop smoke shop since 1914.
Hello, I'm Todd Metter, President and founder of TCAM Financial Services. I've been blessed to serve clients in the financial services industry since 1993, and I've learned it's never too little, never too late to take control of your finances and enjoy the fruits of your labor. Listen to my live call-in show on Wednesdays from 6 to 7 p.m. on WGTK 970. A Nickel and a Plan Finance show is real talk about all things money, done with a musical twist. Tune in and even join in as we talk markets, investment strategies, financial planning, risk management, how the financial services industry really works, and more. Listen to replays of A Nickel and a Plan Finance show on Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. on Big X Sports 96.1 FM and 1450 AM. For more information about the services TKM offers, online at tkmfsllc.com or 450-PLAN, that's 450-7526. TKM Financial Services, comprehensive in approach, client first, in nature.
Defining a new era in men's health, Gameday Men's Health delivers real results. No shortcuts. From testosterone replacement, weight loss, to peptides, vitamins, and sexual performance therapy, they will have you covered. From their in-house lab that gives you answers in just 15 minutes in our clinic that is designed for men who value speed, privacy, and most importantly, results. Visit GameDayMensHealth.com Real men, real science, real change. Visit GamedayMensHealth.com.
Come out to the East Louisville Card Show on Saturday, May 30th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at St. Michael's Gym off Taylorsville Road. Admission is free, concessions will be open, and the show will feature over 130 tables of buying, selling, and trading. Whether you're a serious collector or just getting started, don't miss the East Louisville Card Show Saturday, May 30th, 9 to 2 at St. Michael's Gym. Free admission, great cards, and plenty of deals.
I'm Kathy Binkaman. Over the holiday, there was an attempted fraud attack. My personal banker, Mary Rose, and I networked together, and the first thing that I thought of was I have to text her. And it was just within the next few minutes, there was an entire team that came together collectively. And that's just not the type of service that you typically get from your bank.
That's Kathy's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC.
Consciously held back in you, drowning the sorrow that's long been at rest. The past is a hill.
Billy Strings Friday here on Kentucky Roll Call on Big X Sports Radio. I'm Stephen Peak. Roman Kelly in the producer room next door. Roman, it was cool getting to be on three-man front yesterday. That was fun.
Glad to have you on.
Talking.
What'd you think?
Yeah, it was great. It's an exciting time to be a Louisville Kings fan, as they are. What time's the game again?
Don't pay attention to the away game times that well.
I had the whole break to pull that up and didn't do it. But it's basically, in some ways, they can lose
on Sunday, 6 p.m.
6 p.m. on Sunday. They can lose and get in. Are all the games being played? They're not being played at the same time, right? So will we know? If that game,
we will know because we'll be the last game to start.
Okay, so there's a good possibility if
everything will be on the line at the start of our game.
Okay, so the Stallions are playing this on the same day.
Play tomorrow.
Oh, they play tomorrow.
Yeah, Stallions play the Gamblers tomorrow.
So if they lose, then we're in.
Yeah.
And our game,
right? If they just straight up lose, then we can lose.
Right. Then it's over. If they win, if the Stallions win, then what you basically have on Sunday is
wait, no, we can't lose if the Stallions lose, right?
No, we'd be in. We have a better record.
We'd both be 5-5, would we not? If we both lose? No. If they lose, they'll be 4-6. That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
But they do have the tiebreaker if they are able to win and Louisville loses. So what could happen if the Stallions win on Saturday? Then what you would have is essentially a playoff game for Louisville at 6:00 on Sunday.
Win and you're in, lose and you're done.
Yep. So I'm looking forward to that. That's how I will be spending my Sunday evening watching the Louisville Kings in the season finale against the Columbus. What are they again? The Aviators?
Yes.
In Columbus at historic Columbus Crew Stadium. I didn't even know they were using that stadium for anything anymore. By the way, the Batcats did get on the board in the top of the fifth. It's 3-1. The fifth inning just ended on a called strike 3. Jelkin getting out of the inning. Actually retiring the side, 1-2-3. So Kentucky with just 2 hits through 5 innings, but they were they crossed the plate once. So 3-1 going into the top of the 6th. Game is flying by, but I think I'm going to be able to make it home before it's over. That's good. We left off in the last segment. I asked you guys to send in your minimum requirements for wanting Mark Pope back for year 4. And the guy who kicked off the conversation, I wish I had everybody's names on here. If you want me to have a name or a nickname for you, just text it in. But it's this person said, I'll let you know after the 2028 season if he's done enough to keep the job. If you thought a coach from BYU was going to come in and automatically go to Final Fours in a couple of years, I don't know what to tell you. He's learning the job. What if UConn, and I talked about the UConn thing earlier, but what if UConn would have fired Hurley when he had several horrible years in a row? College basketball isn't the same as it was even 5 years ago. The guy can coach the game of basketball. He will learn the rest. And I've essentially said that throughout this show, that he didn't forget how to coach in year 2. His roster construction should have been better, but he didn't forget how to coach. He had some bad luck with injuries, And, going into year 3, I still think this is a pivotal year 3. Not because I would fire him if he didn't make a Sweet 16 this year. I want to see how the regular season plays out, Roman. I think a lot of times people will say, well, if he doesn't make an Elite 8 in year 4, we got to fire him. Well, what if he was a 1 seed this year and they just got upset in the Sweet 16? That happens. I mean, Florida won the SEC this year and they got beat in the second round. I don't think anybody would say, obviously coming off a national championship helps, but I don't think anybody would say that this Florida's season this year was bad. So that happens. I mean,
didn't meet expectations in a good season.
Yeah. I think there's so much emphasis put on the tournament that I don't want to judge a coach. Ooh, East Carolina, Tennessee tied at 1 in the bottom of the 6th. Let's go, Pirates. Sorry. I think there's so much emphasis put on the tournament. When you ask people what is the minimum requirement, a lot of them will say immediately, he needs to do this in the NCAA tournament. Yes, we need to have NCAA tournament success, but if you are getting high seeds, you're going to do it. You're going to knock down that door at some point. If you're getting 1s and 2 seeds, you're going to make an Elite 8 and you're going to make a Final Four eventually. You might get upset all the other years, but if you do 5 years in a row as one of the top 8 seeds, you'll make a Final Four. So I think like a minimum requirement also needs to include, what do you think what the regular season should look like? I need Kentucky to do a little bit better than 10-8 in the SEC this year. They're going to have to go.
I'm getting further and further away from like my expectation needing to be. It's like by February, you better have it figured out. Ideally, mid-January, start trending towards there. There's so much that's subject to change, even in the start of from November to February. That it's like I with brand new rosters and mercenaries, you can't even really know what you've got for the first.
You really don't.
2 or 3 months. So it's like
the starting lineup could look completely different.
I want to go straight into conference play in the season with all the non-con games. That's what I want.
What about John Calipari's terrible idea of having the SEC tournament at the start of the season? I guess you would be going off the previous season's standings.
I don't like that.
I don't think anybody would be okay with that.
I don't like that.
There's a part of me that
I would like, though, like
I like early season tournaments. I do. I like the early season NIT. They used to call it like the preseason NIT.
Or if just game one is conference slate starts, game 1 of the year.
Ooh.
Your last 6 games, your last 8 games are all non-conference games where you play your 2 SEC teams. You play your couple of Big 10, Big 12 teams.
They had a thing called bracket busters back in the day for mid-majors. And then, so there'd be an open date. You wouldn't have an opponent. And then depending on how well your season was going, late in like February, they would pair you up with a team who's having similar success. So for Murray State in 2012, because they only had 1 loss all the way to the end of February, they got to host Dellavedova and St. Mary's, and so it was a battle of ranked teams. And the whole point of it is to give these schools who are in one bid leagues, try to get them a good out of conference win.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, so I like that idea. I wish the major schools would do
conference games start your season off like every other sport, and your last however many, like what's the norm for non-con amount of games that we have per year? I should know that. Is it 10?
Well, let's see. You played 8. There's 13 then.
13. Make those last 12 games of the year your non-con games. Boom, right back into it with conference tournament play before March.
I do think that they do need to have more non-conference games being played in
those
February.
Games can be exactly like you described. Like you don't even know if you're going to be in one of those games at the start of the season.
Didn't Arizona do this? And Kentucky did do a series with they had the Big 12 SEC challenge that happened in the middle of the SEC schedule. So they played Kansas at Kansas, or Kansas came to Rupp Arena.
I love this. Go earn your Quad 1 opportunities by proving you're good throughout the entirety of the year. We'll match you up with people ranked in the similar spot in the Ken Palm rankings that, come end of February or mid-February, wherever your Ken Palm ranking is, we'll give you a quad 1 or quad 2 or whatever it may be opportunity there. Neutral floor. I love this.
But let's do one more. And I don't know how fans would feel about this, but I think the Kentucky-Louisville game should be played in February or January.
Last game of the season.
But I want it in February. Oh, wow, that would be something.
Right before we go to conference tournament play.
But I think having it later on, whether it be the last game of the season or sometime in February, for one, and have it on a Saturday, by the way. For one, you can have College Game Day there. College Game Day's got to come to the Kentucky-Louisville game. The Kentucky-Louisville basketball rivalry is probably the second best, in my opinion, basketball rivalry.
Yep. At this point, I want it to be the first game of the year or the last game of the year.
But it gets overshadowed by college football and the NFL, where Duke and North Carolina get to have 2 college game days every year at each other's venue. And the Kentucky-Louisville rivalry, while so intense here in this state and some of the surrounding areas, it's not a national rivalry. People don't really. I remember when they came to Louisville, or Kentucky played at Louisville, it was the Edgar Sosa game. And I forget who was doing the color commentary, but he said, as the game was opening up, he's like, this is a big game. There was a full-page spread in the local paper. Yeah, it was. This is a huge game for us. And not just in the city of Louisville, but throughout the state. This is the game. And it never really gets the attention that it deserves, because I remember that same day, there were NFL playoff games going on. I was having to flip back and forth between the Dolphins playoff game, one of the few times in my life I've gotten to see one of those, and the Kentucky-Louisville game. And so I would like to see that one moved. But I don't know how people would feel about moving it to February or even March. Local John says, John here, with Milan Momcilovic, we will be a top 10 team and a title contender for sure. I will be so happy for the program and Coach Pope if this happens. Well, got to go. Talk to you later. Thank you, Local John. UK Rob says, if Pope made it to the Elite Eight and lost a close competitive game, I would be okay with that. Wouldn't be thrilled, but that's a success to me next season. And again, I think if he's going into that Elite Eight game as not a scrappy underdog who has punched above their weight, but an actual contender, might matter too on how we feel about it. Needs a healthy season, I guess, is mainly what I've been saying. Wisconsin guy Carrico says, Kentucky roll call, the summer of Peak's discontent. Oh, man. Kentucky back up to bat here in the top of the 6th. They got a runner on first. Nobody out. Here we go. Get the rally caps on for the Batcats. Lance McGarvey texted me and said, y'all are embarrassing me, LOL. I didn't mean for you guys to gush on me like that. You're way too nice.
We did have a little bit of a Lance McGarvey glaze session there.
Yeah, we did. But Lance deserves it, for sure.
He does.
Love Lance. Wish he wasn't the Louisville PA announcer, but I'm at the same time like the guy a lot. Let's see. So
they need to just let me be the in-game host, let him be the PA, and we kind of just bounce off each other.
Yeah,
all
there you go.
Be perfect.
All right, I'm gonna share this really fast. I feel like I spent the first 3 days when I got back from the trip. Like, I'll just say this show has been really helpful for me. I woke up yesterday and I was just so depressed. Because of my dog. And I woke up and my wife had already left for work, and it was like 7:30 in the morning. And I was like, I think I might have to just go into the station early because I just needed the distractions. And being in that house was really hard because that was his house, and it was like everywhere I look, there's like something that's like reminding me of him, and so this show has really helped, and a lot of people send me some really nice messages, but nobody really knows Kentucky's got runners at first and second. I think there's a back-to-back HBPs, hit by pitches. I just wanted to do this real fast, and I promise you guys I will not be a Debbie Downer anymore about this. But I skimmed past it really fast as I went through my travel hurdles that we had because I knew I would get too emotional. But I think now, I woke up today and I was like, I think I can do this. And if I don't do it now, then I probably won't. So For those of you who know, like I lost my dog, Mr. Blue. And if you've ever had a dog, like, you know, like it's never like it's just a dog. And Roman, you know that, and obviously TJ came in here and talked about his dog, and I know Matt had a tough time recently as well. And you guys know, like they become your family. And speaking of which, Blue was he was adopted by 3 families prior to me, Roman, and they all sent him back because he could be a lot. And luckily for me, he was just bad enough that I got a chance to have him. And he was supposed to be a foster, so I fostered him. The person I was with at the time, actually my ex-wife, she wanted a dog, and we'd already had a cat, and I was like, we can't have a dog too. So he was only supposed to stay with me for a week, and I was gonna give him back. And on the last day, I'm getting rid of this dog. He's been chasing the cat around, and that's gonna be a disaster. He jumps up on the couch with me, and he watches, cuddles up next to me while I was watching the Cubs game. And I was like, dude, I can't give him back now. And that, then he became my dog for 10 years. And I think he had a really good life. I took him everywhere. Every trip was dog centric. I took him to Wrigley Field, the ocean, national parks, Civil War battlefields, restaurants, dog parks in 6 different states. He got to go to soccer games and baseball games. If any place allowed dogs, there was a good chance Blue was coming with me. And every night, what's up, man? Every night after work, no matter how late I got home, I would work nights at WHAS, and we'd go outside and play soccer every night. And it could be in the rain or the snow. And I kept score. I have scores on my phone and records and stats. It's so ridiculous. But I was covering local news, and if you watch local news, it can be terrible. Matt Childress is here with us right now. Matt, I would cover these stories. I'd cover just terrible stuff, young kids being murdered, or car accidents, and seeing some of this stuff, and I would just be emotionally drained. And I'd come home, and every night, Blue was just all right, let's go play. That's all I had to focus on for. Sometimes if it was really cold, only 10 minutes, sometimes an hour.
I'm glad you are covering the best part of the day at the final end of the show.
Yeah, no, it's kind of it would end with that. But that was a hard time in my life. I actually hate that I had him. I wish I could have him now, and I've kind of figured some things out. But that was a very tumultuous, difficult time. But he was there with me through it all. And then I lost a companion. But I also, after I was crying for 3 days and being sad, I realized, for years, I was just, got so worried about waiting for him to get older, and that knowing he was going to die one day. And now that it's here, I realized, I got a dog that I was only supposed to have for 1 week that I had for years. And he's been loved by multiple families in my life, and ended up with a life full of road trips and adventures and people who loved him. And I got the better end of the deal in it. So today I decided I'm not going to be overwhelmingly sad, and that I'm going to be grateful that for 10 years, after some really hard days, there was somebody waiting for me when I got home.
Look, I mean, you're preaching to the choir over here. I understand what you mean. I really hate that you have to go through that. I can't. I know that you helped me out whenever I was going through the similar situation a couple weeks ago. I honestly, yours is a lot worse. I can't imagine having them for that long. And
yours is pretty bad though, because it was. I mean, Blues was sudden, but he was older.
But
yeah.
You got to have them your whole life, and you got to slowly watch them go older and this and that. Like you said, you have the thought in the back of your mind of I have to make this decision at some point. So you almost have to mentally prepare yourself instead of being able to just rip the Band-Aid off and say this is what we have to do. So
Steven,
I guess the one thing is you're lucky you got to have them.
I agree.
Half everything you just said. Half of the dog owners on this planet won't do those things. You are an amazing dog father. You the way you loved that dog is the reason that he loved you in the way that he did. So that's about as great as it can get for him.
I had to tell myself, and I'll tell you the same thing, that you have to, like, yes, it's sad. They don't really understand what's going on. You have to realize that they only know what you showed them, which was a great life. And, like, to them, they don't know any other difference. So, like, yes, it's sad and it's horrible to everyone else. To them, they're just living their life. And they, you know, it just unfortunately comes to an end. And
they all, that's the problem with the dogs, right?
That's the worst part of it.
Yeah. So that's we're going to end on that happy note that I'm grateful for Mr. Blue and the years I got to spend with him. And thank you for coming in there and rescuing me out of that. I appreciate it. All right, we'll see you Monday. Thanks for listening to Kentucky Roll Call.
John Spears for M&M Cartage. You see those trucks riding down the road with the M&M Cartage sign? You could be a driver or